I forgot this isn't Zoom where somebody like yells recording now at me. So then it's like a nice pause, like ding, okay. Well, welcome. So we're talking about Einstein for Service today. For those that don't know me, I'm Anna. And I'm excited to walk you through this AI-driven solution. So big thing here is it's looking at optimizing customer service. So last week when Becky presented, she was talking about very similar things, but just on the sales side of it. There is a little bit of overlap, but the way that they designed Einstein for Service is it's really looking at the benefits and the real world impact for customer service reps. And so by the end of the session, you'll be able to understand how Einstein Service can automate repetitive tasks. You'll be able to look at how it provides intelligent recommendations for customer service representatives, and then also enhances efficiency and improves the customer experience. What I will say is that I did add some Agentforce, the Agentforce for Service slides at the end. And there are a couple of slides where when I was like, it made sense to replace with Agentforce, I just went ahead and did that. But I'll go ahead and call that out just for anybody that's taking the exam before the third so they don't get confused. Sorry, my mouse just died, so I'm going to put that in real fast. So first, you're going to see a slide that at this point, I feel like everybody's so familiar with, but a big concern with AI is security and data accuracy. So that's where Agentforce for Service grounding comes in. This is true same thing for Einstein for Service. And so what it does is it has that grounding. So it only uses verified case and knowledge data when it's creating any of the responses for any of the tools that we'll go over today. Admins can control what AI can access that improves compliance. And then all the data is protected in that Einstein trust layer. So that Einstein trust layer is like their goal. That's what really sets Salesforce apart for what they're doing. So that data, that proprietary data doesn't go out into the open web and gets kind of sucked up by something else accidentally. So always something to keep in mind. That's going to be on the exam current state and future state, because that really is like the meat and potatoes of where all this comes from. And this is the worst screenshot in the world. I apologize. I didn't realize it was that bad. But essentially, and I'll send this out, they define Einstein Service in 3 different categories. It's going to be automate, assist, and optimize. So automate looks at things like bots, recommendation builder, search answers. And so it's really trying to automate some of those things for you. Versus assisting, where it's doing some things in addition to a human. So case routing, it's helping people get cases faster. Case wrap up, it allows the field values to be filled in automatically. And so Salesforce Einstein for Service is really looking at helping service reps work smarter, not harder. It integrates with Service Cloud to automate tasks. It generates insights, and then it optimizes, which is the last piece of the puzzle, which is looking at next best action, conversation mining, and service analytics. And so some of these things are new as part of Einstein for Service, and some other things, for example, like next best action, has existed in some capacity in the past. And then we'll talk about the AI-powered case and knowledge management. So this is one of the features that you get as part of the Einstein for Service. First is Einstein article recommendations. So what this does is it suggests knowledge articles to help reps resolve cases faster. Next is Einstein case classification. It predicts case fields like priority and type, reducing manual entry. Case routing, you can use with case classification, so it actually assigns cases to the right agent for faster resolution. Case wrap up, which is probably one of my favorites. It suggests case details for quick closure. And then Einstein knowledge creation, which uses AI to draft new knowledge articles based on past cases. So the goal here is to eliminate repetitive work so agents can focus on resolving issues rather than filling out fields. And a lot of this goes back down to having that co-pilot, the original name of Agentforce, to help people be faster, better, stronger. Next is looking at the conversational AI and automation. So Einstein conversational AI features help reps respond faster to customer inquiries. So Einstein bots what this does, which is different than the Agentforce bots that we're seeing current day. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the Einstein bots automates conversations in chat messaging channels. Einstein Service Replies uses generative AI to draft natural responses. This one does require a user to interact with that response and approve it before sending it. So there is a layer of interaction there. And then the reply recommendation suggests pre-approved replies based on past conversations. So an example scenario would be a customer starts a live chat asking maybe about their contract renewal. And instead of typing the full response, Einstein Service Replies can instantly generate a response for the agent, and then the agent reviews it, makes sure it makes sense, and then posts that response there. So it's really there to assist them in being able to recommend, not so much replace. And then looking at intelligent insights and decision support. So Einstein also analyzes conversations and provides decision support to improve service operations. One of the things is Einstein work summaries. So this is something that auto-generates chat, email, and case summaries for faster case closure. We also have Einstein Next Best Action. So this recommends personalized actions or offers for the person that's using the system. These are different than the Next Best Actions or offers for customers. So this allows business rules to be reviewed and then provided back to the person actually in Salesforce. And that's also based in customer data. And then conversation mining. So this extracts key insights from past interactions to optimize automation, optimize potentially email templates, things like that. So super powerful stuff there. And one of the big things about what I remember from taking this exam is that so much of it was based on scenarios. So that classic, given this scenario, pick the best response, right? And so I want to take a moment to just talk about some real life scenarios. So for example, one of the most time consuming tasks for service reps is writing summaries after interactions. In this case, Einstein work summaries, it would be a really good tool because at this point they're saying that it creates a summary. It creates maybe an issue or resolution description or blurb after a chat, voice call, or an email. So like imagine a world where a rep is on the phone for 20 minutes and then they have to take the next call, but they don't know what to do. They still have to like close out this one call, but they still have all these notes that they need to gather. What this does is instead of typing up a summary and going one word at a time, Einstein Work Summary generates one automatically. So now you're not spending time remembering what that customer told you 5, 10, 15 minutes into that 20-minute call. You can then save time and then ensure accuracy because that the work summaries is actually listening there and generating that for you as you go. Another thing is Einstein Service Replies. And so if a customer asks, let's say about contract status in a chat. So again, same thing, instead of manually typing out response, AI can suggest a pre-approved message that the rep can edit and send. So it's one of those things where, again, you still have to do something with it. It's not just an autopilot, but it allows them to be faster and also really within the brand voice, which is such an important portion of the customer service experience, right? And then if we're looking at the benefits of using Einstein for Service, so again, looking at, why are we doing all these things? So if you hear something about a business need of enhancing self-service, the solution is going to be either Einstein bots or Agentforce bots, depending on which version of the exam. And so the results could have something to do with maybe they want to have a better customer satisfaction score, better call deflection metrics. So if the exam is asking you about scenarios that have to do with metrics or indicators having to do with this, it's going to most likely go to the Einstein bots or the Agentforce solution. If the solution is asking for the scenario is asking for reducing manual processing, it's going to maybe look at case classification or routing. This allows for increased agent productivity. And so again, looking for those keywords is going to be super it's going to be easier for you to at least minimize like the options there. If you understand kind of the solution, the results, and the business need combined. If the business need is decreasing resolution time, maybe we're looking at work summaries or case wrap up, right? So both of those could potentially be really good things to implement if you're looking for faster resolution, if you're marking that as a metric. Or, the next thing is improved knowledge sharing. So the solution would be knowledge creation, stronger knowledge base. Imagine a world where after every case, somebody, in the next cubicle over got a little, hey, by the way, here's a frequently asked question. Here's how you resolve it. Boom, good to go. That allows you to look at that scenario and say, well, how do I make sure that everybody has that same knowledge and gives that same response so that customer is super satisfied every single time, regardless of who they actually work with internally. And then talking about, why are we doing all this, right? So increased productivity, right? A lot of these things reduce manual effort, allowing agents to go back to focus on customer engagement. Enhance satisfaction, so automates fast and accurate responses to improve customer experience. It has optimized insights, right? So there's a lot of piece of this that's analytics and decision making and improvements to allow for users to be able to really provide that top level customer service instead of trying to do the typing of figuring out which pick list value to pick, or which priority is this, or is it high, medium, whatever that may be. It allows them to get past that portion and then servicing that customer right away. And then it's scalable, right? So it adapts to customer interactions. You can use it on multiple different channels. And then with the expansion of using, the Agentforce portion of it, now you can do self-service more towards the customer facing versus just using this as an internal tool to add to your toolkit of customer satisfaction. And then the next slide here is just talking about the integration with Service Cloud. So because it's built directly into Salesforce, it's seamless. It's right there on the page layout when users need it. It allows for enhanced functionality. Again, unified user face or unified interface. And it allows people to kind of have that co-pilot, that experience right with them, instead of having to try to go to another window or go to a third-party AI solution and then kind of teach it the things that are already in that CRM. And then the continuous improvement, this is much more apparent now too, when you're actually looking at it's rooted in data, it's rooted in your own data, it's rooted in your own interactions. So it allows you to improve over time. And so it actually gets smarter the more that you interact with the tools as part of Service Cloud. And then, so this is talking about the differences. And so what I went and did is I looked at the previous trails and I looked at these trails, and I really wanted to better understand, what's the difference when we say Einstein bots versus Agentforce for service, because that's one of the topics that there's a breakdown there. And so for one of the things, setup. So there's 3 different main differences that we see here, which is setup, maintenance, and then exception handling. So first thing, setup. For Agentforce, setup's in minutes, and we have those pre-built topics and actions. So that's not something that we've seen in the past before this Agentforce rollout came out. If you sign up for a brand new Agentforce org to play around with, those bots in there already have those topics and those actions already built in. So they can do some things out of the box already. While Einstein bots, you have to actually manually train them. And then you have to get them to understand your customer language and your design dialogues and things like that. So big difference there of the whole hey, set up in minutes with Agentforce versus Einstein bots takes a little bit of work in order to train those. Next is maintenance, which is a big thing, especially if you're talking to customers, if you're thinking about maybe scenarios of when to use what. And so you get updates to the out-of-the-box topics, actions, and instructions. So again, when you sign up for a brand new org, you already have a baseline there. And in that way, it's a lot easier to then add topics to that bot or add topics to or instructions to that bot instead of creating brand new from scratch. And so you can actually create your own as you look into what service requests are we going to be using this Agentforce solution for. and you're able to expand your catalog of actions, topics, and instructions. Whereas Einstein bots, they require high maintenance to keep up to date. So you do have to train them. And then as your service requests increase, you do have to do a training. It's almost kind of like they have to go to school, right? It's continuing education. They'll have to be revisited, which is a lot more labor intensive than the Agentforce for Service solutions. And then the final thing is context and exception handling. Agentforce understands human language and has context of the entire conversation, whereas Einstein bots, they don't, I wouldn't say that they can't understand human language, but it's just a lot, like you can't have a learning conversation with them, and they don't really have as much context into the whole conversation. They may have context for the last couple of interactions if you're talking about a customer-facing bot versus an internal bot, but they're going to have a lot less flexibility in that, whereas Agentforce, like, it knows what a case is because it already has that action in there. So definitely really scalable from that perspective as well. And then just talking about, like, again, why we're doing all this. So enhance customer experience. So we have faster, more accurate support across like the whole organization, increased efficiency, data-driven insights, and then it's a scalable AI solution. So adapts to growing business, and it allows for customers to be able to expand the knowledge base and have customers actually look at, like, what should we be servicing with one solution versus another? What should we implement? Like, should we implement call summaries versus case routing? Where's the value at? And how do we quantify that value? How do we measure, which metrics are we looking at? And also, how much does it take to set up and keep maintained? That's a big piece of this when we talk about scenarios. Is I remember there's a couple of scenarios on there that talked about, like, set it and forget it versus, like, just setting it and then being able to revisit it as maybe you're working with a user group or you're working with your stakeholders. And then the last two slides I have here are 100% on Agentforce. So this is one of the main things that differs from, like, what they're currently doing to now. So it responds 24/7. So as we've seen a lot of those videos, a lot of the folks building their own bots, a lot of the customers that are releasing these bots, even on Trailhead, like the Trailhead help, it answers 24/7. So it answers questions, deflects cases, and meets customer service goals on channels any time of the day, wherever it's convenient for the customer, which is awesome. It's super great. It also replies naturally. So it actually sounds more human-like. You can actually ask it to match your brand's voice. It adds clarity. You can actually have it respond with follow-up questions after you deploy to gather more information. It also allows you to hand off to humans. And so if somebody needs to escalate, I think we've probably seen a couple of screenshots here floating around saying, okay, they didn't have an answer for this question on my Trailhead help question, but I got escalated to an agent and I was able to resolve it via case or another way. So it allows it to really understand, like, hey, where is my line and what's too complex? And then, kind of hand it off there. It deploys quickly. That's a big thing right now. We've probably seen the Super Bowl commercial about it being able to be set up in like under 20 minutes. It is true. It does deploy quickly. And so you can really look at, like, the testing center, and you can look into kind of what goes on there and figure out, like, hey, how do I make it better? How do I not assume it knows certain things? Because it oftentimes doesn't. And so you can really deploy a bot like in under 20. That is true. However, I would say in order to get it to learn more, there is going to be that training and understand, like, what my customers are going to say. Are they always going to say the word case? Or do I have to build in some guardrails about, like, case, request, issue, and how does that bot know what to do with those words if we're not using, like, hi, I need to open a case. And of course, it's grounded in trusted data. So it grounds your AI agents in credible sources. So talking about those knowledge articles, it looks at similar cases. It looks at your CRM data. And then again, it's talking about that trust layer on the Salesforce platform that allows your customer data to stay safe. And talking about that, there is a big push about the ethical guidance of Agentforce, right? So now when you talk about, hey, originally these were all internal tools and maybe some external, this is talking about being transparent of like when you're using AI. So when you open up a new chat dialogue, you can't say, hi, I'm a human. You have to be, saying, hey, this is, an AI bot on behalf of, or this is so-and-so on behalf of this company. Also talking about like grounding in RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. So it actually looks at like knowledge articles in the Service Cloud, or you can actually upload your own documentation. So like product manuals, spreadsheets, sales quotes, things like that, to get more data inside of the agent. So that way it's better equipped to handle some of those other requests that you're teaching it to do. And then you also want to make sure that you automate actions mindfully. This is a big one, because you need to make sure that like it's an autopilot, right? So whereas there's some things like a case routing, like what's the worst that happens if you route a case from medium to high? That's not going to be that big of an impact. But if you allow an Agentforce bot to be on your website and representing you as a brand, what should and shouldn't it be able to do? Should it be able to change a phone number on an account? Well, maybe. Should be able to update a driver's license number? I need more information about that. Why are we updating it? What else changes? So really being able to ask those questions and understanding, like in scenarios, which one is better to use in that moment. That's going to be very key for this this AI specialist certification. So that's all I have there. I'll pause. I know there's a lot of data, and I don't think I stopped to breathe, so I apologize for that. But questions, comments, concerns?
This was great. I was actually on a project where we got to use Einstein service replies, and the agents absolutely loved it because it saved them time not having to type so much. And that very same week, I was in Atlanta and I was booking Lyft rides. And one of my Lyft drivers did not have a functioning seatbelt. So I went to the Lyft app and I reported an issue. And the answers were like so fast. And I just have to know that they were using something like Einstein service replies or the product itself, because and I was so happy as a client to be able to get those answers so quickly, instead of, we all know the pain of like the typing and what are they saying, So I think it's just an amazing product. And it was really easy for the team to turn it on, the configuration team.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It kind of goes from like if you think about the evolution of replies, it's like it was typing out every single word, and then it became like shorthand, where like when you put received, it's REC apostrophe V, but then you don't know if that word is received for the client. So this really kind of pulls together those workarounds and says like, here's what you potentially could say. Now make it your own. So that's great. I love to hear that it helped you, right, in a real life experience. That's what it's all about, right? And a lot of this exam, especially, is talking about like here are real life scenarios, not just like there's not a lot of like solar, whatever, cloud kicks and the solar panel company. Like, it's not a lot of that. It's actually like, hey, somebody wants to accomplish X. Which one of these tools would you recommend? So I think it's a really fun one.
And I just remembered Tiffany put together the demo for that client. Tiffany, do you have anything you want to add about your experience configuring some of these tools?
The amount of time it took to configure the AI summary was a lot less time than configuring a bot. So that was my main takeaway, that the actual work itself was quick.
Nice. Like that.
And then on a recent Agentforce project that I was on, I had that bot experience from that project that Tiffany and I worked with. And then I went into the discovery thinking I needed to be that granular. And then it's like, wait, it's just like what you said, Anna, like you don't have to tell it exactly. It's going to be smart enough to figure it out. And one of the tips one of our managed services folks recommended is having a knowledge base, like an FAQ, because the agent can just pull from that and you don't have to think through every scenario that it's being asked. So I thought that was cool.
For sure. Yeah. Any other questions?
I just wanted to say I appreciated the way that you broke that down, especially that section on the bots versus Agentforce and what the differences there are and the use cases that are more applicable for one or the other. And hearing these real life scenarios from projects recently, I love this. It really helps visualize all of the ways that this would make sense in what we're doing with our clients. So thank you for breaking it down that way. It was really nice.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
I'd also like to just show you again, I'm going to show you this little quick comparison, but like a lot of what you had, I'm going to take up the screen if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is, let's see here. Am I sharing my screen? There we go. So
Yes.
Agentforce and Service Cloud, right? So a lot of what you shared there. So I don't want everyone to be so concerned that like, oh my gosh, the exam's totally changing. And I've already started. I think it's very, Salesforce centric in the fact that there is a shuffling of things, and the addition of some things. This is, I don't think this is anything to panic about. Not that anyone's panicking. I'm just saying, I don't think that this is something that is just like a huge, oh my gosh, this is so different than what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, from your screenshot there, the generative AI and CRM, that's 17%. The way I'm understanding it, like, so last week, Becky presented her portion of it. So
Yep.
that was like 17 divided by 2. I
Yep.
think this is equivalent to Agentforce and Service Cloud and Sales Cloud. So I think it's actually weighted like maybe 3% more, but I think it's broken down in truly 10% of each, just
Yep.
based on my trying to like catch up to everything. And yeah, and absolutely to your point, like prompt engineering, a lot of that is prompt builder. So it is the same thing.
Exactly.
It's just, I mean, they just removed the word Copilot from everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I like replace Copilot with like Agentforce and then
Right.
break it down from there.
Yeah. So I think it's just half the people I see on this call, I know what a lot of you do. It's a matter of it's just using a different vocabulary as we're working with some of these, as they're making that shift. But the concepts are this very similar, if not the same.
Nice. Love hearing that. I feel a lot better about it after having this discussion. Any other questions? All right, I'll stop the recording.